What if the greatest war films were not the ones Hollywood celebrated, but the ones it quietly ignored? Stories that chose truth over spectacle, silence over noise. These films do not chase glory. They expose survival. They reveal fear. They show war in forms most audiences never expect. From hidden battles of the mind to missions that collapse under their own ambition, this countdown uncovers British war films that deserve far more attention than they received. Number 14. Aces High. 1976. War does not always scream. Sometimes it whispers inside a cockpit where a young pilot realizes he is already dead. That is the quiet terror at the heart of Aces High. This is not a heroic sky battle film. It is a psychological autopsy. The story follows fresh pilots entering World War I air combat with illusions of glory. Well, those illusions collapse fast. Missions become routine death sentences. Faces change, but the fear remains the same. The film uses the sky as a trap. There is no escape once you are airborne. Malcolm McDowell delivers a performance that feels hollow in the best possible way. His character is not brave in the traditional sense. He is conditioned, numb. The film shows how war turns human beings into quiet survivors who stop questioning orders. What makes this film powerful is its refusal to celebrate victory. Even success feels like failure. Every mission completed only means another will follow. The cycle never breaks. Hollywood rarely embraced this tone. It wanted heroes. It wanted triumph. Aces High offered something far more uncomfortable. It showed that survival in war is not glory. It is endurance. And as we move forward, the tone shifts. Because the next film does not trap soldiers in the sky, it traps an entire village in a nightmare that feels far too real. Number 13. Went the Day Well? 1942. Imagine waking up and realizing the enemy is already inside your home, not outside, not approaching, already living among you. That is the terror that drives. Went the day well? This film begins with calm, a quiet English village, friendly faces, polite conversations. Then the truth cracks through the surface. The soldiers stationed there are not British at all. They are disguised invaders. What follows is not a traditional war battle. It is something more personal. Civilians are forced into violence. Ordinary people become fighters because they have no other choice. The film does not hold back. For its time, it was shockingly brutal. Death is sudden. Resistance is messy. The brilliance of this story lies in its realism. There are no trained heroes here. There are shopkeepers, farmers, elderly citizens. They do not fight because they are ready. They fight because survival demands it. This is why the film endured in Britain but faded elsewhere. It does not offer spectacle. It offers fear that feels possible. It suggests that war can arrive silently, without warning, without mercy. And just when you think you understand fear, the next story takes you somewhere even harsher. Not a village, not a battlefield, but a prison where discipline becomes cruelty and survival becomes a test of the human spirit. Number 12, The Hill, 1965. There are no enemies here, no gunfire, no explosions. Yet somehow, this feels more brutal than any battlefield. That is the disturbing truth behind The Hill. Set inside a British military prison in North Africa, this story strips away every illusion about discipline and honor. Soldiers who break rules are sent here not for correction, but for destruction. The punishment is simple. Climb a man-made hill in the burning desert again and again until the body collapses. Then do it again. Sean Connery delivers one of the most controlled performances of his career. He does not shout. He does not beg. He endures. And that endurance becomes the film's core tension. How much can a man take before he breaks? The film is not about war against an external enemy. It is about power inside the system. Authority becomes abuse. Discipline becomes humiliation. The real conflict is between humanity and control. That's what makes this film unforgettable is how it exposes the cracks within the military machine. These men are supposed to be soldiers. Instead, they are reduced to bodies being tested for limits. Hollywood rarely explored this side of war. It preferred clean narratives, clear villains. The Hill offers none of that. It forces the audience to confront an uncomfortable idea. Sometimes the greatest enemy is not across the battlefield. It is standing right behind you. And from this suffocating prison, we move to an entirely different kind of struggle, one where survival depends not on authority, but on endurance across an endless desert. Number 11. Ice Cold in Alex. 1958. The desert does not care who you are. It does not care about rank or bravery or orders. It only cares whether you can survive. That is the quiet tension that drives Ice Cold in Alex. This is not a film about winning battles. It is a film about reaching a destination. A small group of Allied soldiers must cross the North African desert in a fragile vehicle while danger closes in from every direction. The enemy is present but distant. The real threat is the environment itself. Heat, exhaustion, isolation. The brilliance of this story lies in its simplicity. There are no grand speeches, no heroic charges, just slow, grinding movement through an unforgiving landscape. Every mile feels earned. Every moment carries weight. What makes the journey even more gripping is the uncertainty within the group. Trust becomes fragile. Motives become questionable. Survival forces people to reveal who they truly are. The film builds tension not through action, but through patience. You feel every drop of sweat, every second of silence. And when relief finally arrives, it feels earned in a way few war films achieve. Hollywood often overlooked this style because it lacks spectacle, but that is exactly why it works. It reminds us that war is not always loud. Sometimes it is a long, quiet test of endurance, where the greatest victory is simply staying alive. And now the scale expands, from a handful of survivors in the desert to an entire ocean, where survival is measured not in miles, but in moments between life and death. Number 10. The Cruel Sea, 1953. The ocean is silent until it decides to kill you. There is no warning, no mercy. That is the cold reality inside the Cruel Sea. This film places you aboard a British naval escort ship during the Battle of the Atlantic. The mission sounds simple. Protect convoys from German submarines. But nothing about it is simple. The enemy is invisible. It waits beneath the surface. Every ripple could be the last thing you see. What separates this film from typical war stories is its emotional honesty. Victory comes with a cost that never fades. One moment defines the film. A decision made in seconds leads to the loss of friendly lives. Not by enemy fire, by necessity. The weight of that choice never leaves the crew. The captain is not a fearless hero. He is a man carrying responsibility that grows heavier with every mission. Each order risks lives. Each success feels incomplete. The film captures the psychological toll of naval warfare in a way Hollywood rarely attempted. There are no triumphant cheers, only quiet reflection. The sea becomes a symbol of endless uncertainty. This is why it remained more respected than celebrated. It does not entertain, it confronts. It shows that war at sea is not just about strategy. It is about living with decisions that cannot be undone. And from the silent terror beneath the waves, we rise into the sky again. But this time, the mission is not survival. It is precision, a single strike that could change the course of the war. Number 9, The Dam Busters, 1955. Some missions are impossible until someone decides they are not. That is the driving force behind The Dam Busters. This film tells the true story of a daring Royal Air Force operation designed to destroy German dams using a revolutionary weapon. The concept alone sounds unreal, a bouncing bomb that skips across water before striking its target. But the real tension lies in execution. Everything must be perfect. Height, speed, timing. One mistake means failure. The film builds suspense through preparation. Training sequences are not filler. They are the heart of the story. You watch pilots struggle to master a technique that feels unnatural. The pressure grows with every attempt. When the mission finally begins, the tension becomes almost unbearable. Low-altitude flight in darkness. Enemy fire closing in. Split-second decisions that determine success or death. What makes this film remarkable is its balance between technical precision and human emotion. These are not fearless warriors. They are men aware of the odds. They proceed anyway. Hollywood later borrowed elements from this structure. The iconic attack sequences influenced films far beyond the war genre. Yet the original rarely receives that credit. It stands as a reminder that innovation in war often comes from desperation, and sometimes the most unbelievable ideas become the most decisive. But the next entry pushes scale even further. Not one mission, not one target. An entire battle fought in the skies with real aircraft and real stakes where history itself hangs in the balance. Number 8. Battle of Britain, 1969. This is what war looks like when the sky itself becomes a battlefield. Battle of Britain does not simulate combat. It recreates it with a level of realism that still feels unmatched. The film captures the desperate defense of Britain against overwhelming German air power. There are no shortcuts here. Real aircraft filled the screen. Real formations move with precision. Every dogfight feels grounded in reality because it is built from it. What makes this film extraordinary is its scale combined with restraint. It does not rely on exaggerated heroics. Instead, it shows coordination, strategy, the quiet tension inside command rooms where decisions shape the fate of thousands. Pilots are not presented as invincible icons. They are exhausted. Rotations blur together. Survival becomes uncertain with every sortie. The film emphasizes how thin the line was between victory and collapse. Despite its ambition, this film never achieved the global recognition of its American counterparts. Its commitment to authenticity may have limited its mainstream appeal. It demands attention rather than offering spectacle. The result is a war film that feels almost documentary in nature. You are not watching history being dramatized. You are watching it unfold with unsettling clarity. Number 7. 71, 2014. War is no longer distant. It is immediate, personal, confusing. That is the chaos at the center of 71. Set during the conflict in Northern Ireland, the story follows a young British soldier who becomes separated from his unit during a riot. One moment, he is surrounded by allies. The next, he is alone in hostile territory where every street hides danger. The film moves with relentless intensity. There is no safe space. Every encounter carries risk. Civilians may be allies or threats. Trust becomes impossible. Survival depends on instinct. What makes this story powerful is its perspective. This is not a large-scale military operation. It is a single man trying to stay alive in a city that feels like a maze. The camera stays close. The tension never releases. The film also avoids simple answers. It does not frame conflict in clear terms of right and wrong. Instead, it shows confusion, fear, the human cost of a situation where lines are blurred beyond recognition. Critics praised its realism and emotional impact, yet it never reached a wide audience. It lacks the spectacle many expect from war films. Instead, it offers something far more unsettling. A reminder that modern conflict often feels like being lost in a place where danger exists on every side and certainty no longer exists at all. Number 6. Kajaki, 2014. War does not always arrive with gunfire. Sometimes it waits beneath your feet, invisible, silent, absolute. That is the nightmare reality inside Kajaki. Based on a true story, this film follows a group of British soldiers stationed in Afghanistan who become trapped in an unmarked minefield. The first explosion is sudden, a single step, a single mistake. Then everything changes. Movement becomes impossible. Every inch of ground could be fatal. What follows is not action in the traditional sense. It is endurance stretched to its limit. The soldiers are forced to remain still while injuries worsen. Pain becomes constant. Time slows into something unbearable. Rescue is coming, but distance turns minutes into what feels like eternity. The film achieves its intensity through restriction. There is no escape, no dramatic charge forward. The camera stays close to the men as fear spreads through the group. Every decision carries risk. Every attempt to help could trigger another explosion. What makes this story unforgettable is its authenticity. It does not exaggerate. It does not romanticize. It shows the raw vulnerability of soldiers placed in a situation where training cannot save them. Only patience and courage remain. Despite critical praise, the film never reached a global audience. Its focus on stillness and suffering makes it difficult to market. Yet, that is exactly what gives it power. It forces the viewer to sit with the reality of war rather than escape from it. Number 5. A Bridge Too Far, 1977. Some battles are remembered for victory. Others are remembered for ambition that exceeded reality. A Bridge Too Far tells the story of one such moment. The film recreates Operation Market Garden, a massive Allied attempt to secure key bridges in the Netherlands during World War II. The plan was bold: capture the bridges, push forward, end the war faster. But bold plans often carry hidden flaws. What sets this film apart is its scale. Multiple storylines unfold across different locations. Soldiers advance with confidence only to face resistance that grows stronger with each step. Communication breaks down. Timelines collapse. The operation begins to unravel. The cast is enormous, yet the film never loses its focus. It shows how large strategies depend on small details. A delayed unit, a missed signal, a single bridge that cannot be taken. Each element contributes to a larger failure that feels inevitable in hindsight. The emotional weight comes from realization. The soldiers do not begin the mission expecting defeat. They believe in the plan. Watching that belief fade creates a quiet tension that builds throughout the film. Despite its ambition and historical depth, it was overshadowed by other war epics. Though its refusal to simplify failure made it harder to celebrate. Yet, that is its greatest strength. It presents war as a complex system where confidence can collapse into consequence without warning. Number 4. The Eagle Has Landed, 1976. War becomes unsettling when the enemy feels human. That is the quiet disturbance running through The Eagle Has Landed. The story imagines a daring German plan to kidnap a British leader from inside England itself. The mission is precise. A small group of soldiers parachute into the countryside and blend into a peaceful village. At first, nothing feels wrong. Then the tension begins to rise. What makes this film different is its perspective. The invading soldiers are not presented as monsters. They are disciplined, focused, at times even honorable. This creates a strange emotional conflict. You understand their mission even as you fear its success. The film builds suspense through proximity. The threat is not distant. It is hidden in plain sight. Villagers go about their routines unaware that danger is walking beside them. Every interaction feels loaded with risk. As the plan unfolds, small mistakes begin to appear. A detail out of place. A moment of hesitation. The operation that once seemed flawless starts to fracture. The tension grows not from large battles, but from the fear of exposure. This approach made the film harder to categorize. It is not a traditional war spectacle. It is a slow, tightening narrative about deception and identity. That subtlety limited its mainstream reach, yet gave it lasting impact.
Number 3. Black Hawk Down, 2001. War does not always unfold as planned. Sometimes it collapses in real time. That is the brutal reality inside Black Hawk Down. Set during a U.S. military mission in Somalia, the objective begins with precision. Enter, capture, exit, clean, controlled. But within minutes, everything breaks. A helicopter goes down, then another. The mission transforms from strategy into survival. What follows is chaos that refuses to slow down. Streets become traps. Allies become scattered. Communication fractures under pressure. Soldiers are no longer executing orders. They are fighting moment to moment just to stay alive. The film does not glorify combat. It overwhelms you with it. Gunfire echoes without pause. Dust fills the air. Decisions are made in seconds, but their consequences last forever. There is no clear battlefield. Danger comes from every direction. What makes this story unforgettable is its intensity. It does not step back. It does not give you space to breathe. You experience confusion the same way the soldiers do, without clarity, without control. Despite its scale and recognition, it is often remembered as action rather than what it truly is, a study in how quickly war can spiral beyond command. And once control is lost, survival becomes the only mission left.
Number 2. The Imitation Game, 2014. War is not always fought with weapons. Sometimes it is fought with ideas that move faster than bullets and silence entire armies. That is the hidden battlefield inside The Imitation Game. The film follows the work of codebreakers at Bletchley Park, who are tasked with solving the German Enigma cipher. At the center of it all is Alan Turing, a man whose mind operates at a level few can understand. His approach is unconventional. His methods are questioned, yet his vision carries the potential to change the course of the war. What makes this story powerful is its tension without visible combat. Every intercepted message represents lives at risk. Every delay costs time that cannot be recovered. The race is constant. Break the code before the next attack happens. Fail, and the consequences spread across continents. The emotional core lies in isolation. Turing is surrounded by people yet remains apart from them. His brilliance creates distance. His personality creates conflict. The film explores how genius can become both a weapon and a burden. As the code begins to unravel, a new dilemma appears. Knowing the enemy's plans does not mean you can act on all of them. Decisions must be made about which attacks to stop and which to allow in order to protect the secret. The weight of that knowledge becomes almost unbearable. The film gained recognition, but is often discussed as a biographical drama rather than a war film. That distinction hides its true impact. It reveals that some of the most decisive victories happen far from the front lines, in places where silence carries more power than any explosion. Number 1, Dunkirk. 2017. There is no grand speech here, no traditional hero, only time running out. That is the relentless force driving Dunkirk. As directed by Christopher Nolan, this film reconstructs the evacuation of Allied soldiers trapped on the beaches of France during World War II. The situation is simple: survive long enough to escape. Yet survival becomes a complex struggle shaped by land, sea, and air. The narrative unfolds across 3 timelines that intersect with precision. Soldiers wait on the beach exposed and vulnerable. Civilian boats cross dangerous waters to assist. Pilots fight above them, protecting what little hope remains. Each perspective builds tension in a different way. What sets this film apart is its minimalism. Dialogue is limited. Emotion is carried through sound and movement. The ticking score creates constant pressure. Every moment feels urgent. There is no pause, no relief. The film avoids traditional storytelling. It does not focus on a single character arc. Instead, it captures collective survival. Individuals blur into a larger experience. Fear becomes shared. Hope becomes fragile. Despite its success, it sparked debate for its unconventional style. Some expected more explanation, more character focus. Yet, that absence is deliberate. It places the viewer inside the experience rather than outside observing it. Dunkirk stands as a reminder that war is not always about victory. Sometimes it is about escape, about endurance, about holding on long enough for history to give you a second chance. These films do not beg for attention. They earn it through honesty, through tension that stays long after the screen fades. If even one of these stories stayed with you, then the mission worked. Watch them, question them, and decide which ones Hollywood should never have overlooked.